Well, it comes from within, doesn't it? I mean, you are who
Yes,
you are because of what you think, what you focus your attention on, what you have given your greatest emotional feeling for. Those are the things that make up who you are.
and it's
And when you put those
actually,
together, it becomes a very strong package in your case because you went through some really tough times and that makes you stronger.
yes. And I think what people don't realize, it's like forgiveness. It's not a feeling, it's a decision. It's a decision that you have to take. Because, for instance, when I got divorced, I had that resentment. I had a very happy childhood. And that's all I wanted for my children and for myself. And I had that resentment in me. But I decided to not allow my future to be impacted. I already lost part of my 17 years. It wasn't always bad. There's always a balance. And it's a decision. You make a decision that you're going to forgive somebody, even if you don't feel like it. And one day you will just realize, but you know, it is gone. It doesn't matter anymore. And I think it's the same with most things. The decision must come before the feeling. It's a decision that you must make, doesn't matter how you feel.
That
I think
decision
so.
is a very potent thing because, first of all, in order to come to a decision, you have to know your own mind. And until you know your own mind, it's really hard to decide anything.
But do we ever know our mind, really? Is it not ever evolving?
All the time.
I mean, when you're young, you think you know your mind. But now I realize I didn't at that time.
See, to me, the mind is not just what's in the brain. It's the combination of the brain and the heart. The two together create
Yes.
the mind space, so to speak.
I'll be honest. One of the things I believe made me persist and made me as strong as I am is my childhood. Because I had this tremendous, happy childhood, I believe my foundations and my values are strong and grounded. If I have to choose again, I would choose again to have the happy childhood and the difficult adult. Not the other way around. Because I think
okay.
if I did not have the childhood I had, I might have not been strong enough to have handled what I had to.
It basically gave you a grounding. It gave you a foundation
Yes.
to build the life on.
Yes. Like you say, I knew who I was. I knew what I would and wouldn't do, what I believed in.
So what do you say
And
to somebody who has trouble knowing who they are? Maybe they come from a background where their childhood was far less than desirable. How do you help them to find that person that they are deep inside?
there's so many resources today. First thing is to not be a victim. That's the very first thing. There are people who will always be victims. I actually find it very difficult. I can't work at all with a victim. And that's because of my past, as a certain part of my past when I was married. I cannot work with a victim at all. I find it very difficult.
Mm-hmm.
I do not understand it, and I don't want to work with it. Somebody must be
And I don't think you want to
past
understand
victim.
it either.
No. But in a way, I wonder, while I was married, I was very young, I was 21 when I got married, and I got ill. I wonder if I wasn't at that stage in my early fibromyalgia and not being happy with what was happening in my marriage, if I wasn't a victim myself. I think so. I had to move through it.
What do you think you learned from that?
Anybody, if they really want to, can move out of being a victim. Unless there's something I don't understand when it comes to psychology. I'm not trained, so if you have psychopathic or those traits, I don't know. Often they can't see things the way we see it, or whether I don't understand that part. But if you do not have psychological issues, then you need to move and get out of it. Otherwise, you're going to get nowhere in life.
Well, I have no more psychological training than you have, although I do have perhaps the advantage of being married to a former psychotherapist, and let me tell you that is quite valuable at times. So I picked some stuff up that way. Oh, there is no doubt about that. But what I can tell you, my own view of the whole matter is any person who is dealing with any kind of psychological issue, no matter what it is, they ended up getting there in the first place in some form through what they gave their attention to. Now, it doesn't mean that they didn't have outside influences, that perhaps they weren't abused or something like that. Yes, of course, that kind of thing does happen. But nevertheless, there is always that one clear path that I've seen with everybody I've ever met who I could identify as having, some sort of problem going on, psychologically speaking. There's not been a single exception that I can think of where they themselves weren't reinforcing that which they had become. And they were reinforcing it on a daily basis, usually on an hour-to-hour basis, often second to second. So regardless of what our circumstances are.
You become what you focus on.
You do. It really is true.
If you focus on the problems, you're going to get problems all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fortunately, I don't have to give away my age, but before the internet existed, I started reading Dr. Demartini's books.
Ah, yes.
And I've learned a lot from him. I was actually listening to a video just now on YouTube, just before I came on, and I just thought how amazing he explains these things, how everything is about balance, how you have to live congruent with your highest values, and he's got tremendous knowledge and teachings. I think if there's one single person that can get you out of victimship, I think it's Dr. Demartini.
Dr. Demartini. Sure, why not? Hey, the man is something of a legend.